The Torah delineates various punishments. The most severe crimes are punished with death. The most severe of the deaths is death by stoning. And the Torah tells us that if a person deserves that punishment, not only is he put to death by stoning, his body is hung up for all to see. However, the Torah tells us, if a man is stoned and his body is hung up, you must take down his body quickly. Do not allow the sun to set, because it's an embarrassment to God to have a human being hang there too long. Hang him, but take him down quickly. Rashi explains to us, why is this an embarrassment to God? Rashi explains, because man was created in the image of God. And in fact, Rashi gives us a mushal, a parable. He says, imagine two identical twins. One rises to power, becomes a king. The other becomes a criminal. If one day the criminal is caught and they hang him, any person passing would say, oh my goodness, look, the king is hung. Since they are identical, one would mistake the criminal for the king. So too, says Rashi, man was created in the image of God. If you leave the body hanging, it's an embarrassment to God. Apparently one passing would say, oh my goodness, God is hanging. This Rashi is quite difficult to understand, because no human being looks like God. God is the creator of the heavens and the earth. God is boundless, limitless, and no mortal human being could be mistaken for God. What is Rashi teaching us? What is he telling us? And I believe the answer to this question is based on understanding the power that God gave to man. If you ride the elevator in the Empire State Building to the top of the floor, you'll find a gift shop there. And you may very well see a replica of the Empire State Building. A replica is the Empire State Building in miniature. It conveys some sense, some semblance to the building. Granted, there aren't elevators in this little model. Granted, it doesn't stand over 1,000 feet tall, but it sort of reminds you of the Empire State Building. It's a replica of it. A higher level than that would be a representation. A flag represents the country. A flag must be treated with honor. If a United States flag touches the floor, that's considered an affront. You're not allowed to do that. A throne represents the honor due to a king. It conveys some of the honor, some of the king's rule. That's a representation. What Rashi is teaching us is that man is not a replica of God. Man is not even a representation of God, but there's a unique godliness in man that's so profound and so astonishing that if a human being ever really delved into the greatness of human, he would say he contains an element of God within him. The problem that we have is we look from a corporeal, physical level. When I look at a human being, he looks like flesh and blood, muscles and bones. But if I were to understand the spiritual dimension of man, if I were able to understand the greatness that God invested in man and the potential to change himself and change the world, I would see an element of godliness within that human being, and I would look at him vastly in a different manner. What Rashi is telling us is, if you carry it to the furthest extreme, you'll never understand quite how important the human being is and quite how significant he is. When you look at a human being, what you're supposed to say is, oh my goodness, that's a man created in the image of God. If we were to train ourselves to truly understand the spirituality of a human being, we would be aghast by his power, by the honor due to him, and obviously we treat him in a very different way. This Rashi is fundamental because, number one, it teaches me how to view any human being. The respect, the honor due to him is beyond my comprehension. He's created in the image of God. But there's a corollary concept. I too am a man, and I too was created in the image of God. And therefore the self-respect that demands and the potential that's within me is also almost beyond my comprehension. Understanding the honor due to any human being, understanding the honor due to myself allows me to treat others with the due respect, allows me to treat myself with the due respect, recognizing my greatness, recognizing my potential to accomplish and do in this world.